You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep reading the last one. Let that sink in for a moment. Think about how often we replay the same old stories in our minds over and over as if somehow revisiting them will change the ending. But here's the truth, the ending is done. The ink is dry. Now imagine holding a book in your hands. The story you've been reading has its highs and lows, its lessons and laughter, but the chapter you're stuck on, it's over. You're clinging to pages that have already been read while the rest of the book, the best parts, are waiting for you to turn the page. And isn't that what life is? A series of chapters, each one offering you something new. But you can't embrace what's next if you're stuck in the past, gripping tightly to what you've already outgrown. Here's the thing about letting go, it's not about forgetting. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen or dismissing the lessons it taught you. No, letting go is about releasing the grip so you can make space. It's about creating room for what's meant to come. Think about this: when you hold on to the old, you crowd out the possibility of the new. You're like a gardener clinging to weeds, afraid to pull them out, and wondering why nothing fresh is blooming. And I get it, letting go can feel like loss. It can feel like admitting defeat. But let me tell you something, it's not losing, it's growing. It's saying, I'm ready for more. Now imagine you're carrying a heavy suitcase. It's stuffed with regrets, mistakes, heartbreaks, and grudges. It's so heavy that you're bent over, barely able to take another step. How far do you think you can go like this? Not very far, right? But what happens if you set it down? Just put it down for a moment. Feel the weight lift off your shoulders. That's what letting go feels like: freedom. And here's the secret: the suitcase wasn't helping you. You thought it was necessary, that you had to carry it, but it was only slowing you down. The past is like that. It's a bag you're not required to hold. Let's try something right now. Close your eyes and picture yourself standing at a crossroads. One path is familiar. It's the same road you've walked for years. You know every bump, every twist, every turn. It feels safe, but it's also small. The other path is wide open. You can't see what's around the bend, but it feels exciting. It feels alive. Which path are you going to choose? Because here's the truth: staying in the past is like living in a house that's too small. You've outgrown it, but you're afraid to leave because it's comfortable. But comfort isn't where growth happens. Growth is in the unknown. Now think about the stories you tell yourself, the ones about who you are, what you can do, what you can't do. Those stories are powerful. They shape your reality. But here's a question: are they true? How much of what you believe about yourself is based on who you were, not who you are becoming? Because the person you were 5 years ago, 1 year ago, even yesterday, isn't the person you are right now. You have permission to change, to evolve, to let go of the old story and write a new one. And let me tell you something else: the past isn't a life sentence. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the things that happen to you. You are the person who chooses what happens next. So let me ask you this: what would your life look like if you let go of the need to control, the need to hold on to what's familiar? What if you trusted that by releasing what no longer serves you, you're making space for something better? I want you to imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are rolling in, carrying everything you've been holding on to. Regrets, doubts, fears, all of it is being swept out to sea. And as the water pulls it away, you feel lighter. You feel free. Because that's what letting go does, it frees you. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Letting go requires courage. It requires faith. But here's the thing: you don't have to know exactly what's coming next. You just have to trust that whatever it is, it's meant for you. And maybe that's the hardest part: trusting. Trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting that the universe or God or whatever you believe in has a plan for you that's bigger and better than anything you could imagine. But here's the beauty of it: when you let go, you're not giving up. You're giving yourself a gift, the gift of possibility. So what's one thing you can release today? Just one thing. A grudge, a fear, an old belief that's no longer true. Let it go. Breathe it out. And when you do, notice how much space it creates inside you. Space for joy, space for love, space for life. Because life isn't waiting for you in the pages you've already read. It's in the blank ones ahead, and the pen is in your hands. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Think about that for a moment. You're gripping so tightly to the pain, the frustration, the resentment, and all the while, it's not hurting anyone else, it's hurting you. Anger, in its rawest form, is heavy. It's like a chain wrapped around your soul, dragging you down, slowing you, and keeping you stuck. And yet, so many of us cling to it as if it's serving some purpose. But let's get real. What purpose is it serving? What has holding on to anger ever brought you? Peace? Freedom? Joy? No, it brings you tension. It weighs on your heart. It sits in your mind, replaying the same arguments, the same wounds over and over again. Here's a truth you need to hear. The anger you carry doesn't harm the person you're angry at. It harms you. Now, imagine this. You're standing in a field holding a rock in your hand. It's not just any rock, it's the rock of anger, resentment, and pain. It's sharp, heavy, and jagged. And for some reason, you've been carrying it everywhere. It's in your pocket, in your hand, or sometimes in your heart. You've carried it so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to live without it. But here's the thing, you can put it down. That rock doesn't belong to you. It's not a part of you. It's something you've been holding on to, but you were never meant to carry it forever. The moment you release that anger, something amazing happens. You start to feel light, you start to feel free, because letting go isn't just about the other person, it's about you. It's about giving yourself the gift of peace. And I know what you're thinking, but they don't deserve my forgiveness, or what happened to me was unfair, and you're right. Maybe they don't deserve it. Maybe it was unfair. But forgiveness isn't about them. It's not about excusing what they did. It's about setting yourself free. Think of it this way: if someone wronged you, they've already taken something from you. Don't let them take any more. Don't let them take your peace, your happiness, your now. Here's a powerful exercise for you. Close your eyes and think of the person or situation that's been weighing on you. Feel that anger in your chest, that tension in your shoulders. Now take a deep breath. And as you exhale, imagine that anger leaving your body. Picture it dissolving into the air, leaving you lighter, freer. And yes, it might take more than one deep breath. It might take 100. It might take time. But every time you release a little of that anger, you're taking back a piece of yourself. Let me share a story with you. There was a man who spent years angry at a friend who had betrayed him. Every time he thought about it, his stomach would tighten, his fists would clench, and he'd replay the betrayal over and over in his mind. Then one day he realized something profound. That friend had moved on. They weren't losing sleep over what had happened. They weren't carrying the weight of the anger. He was. And in that moment, he understood that holding on to that pain was only hurting him. So he made a choice to let go, not because the friend deserved it, but because he deserved peace. And the moment he let go, he felt a weight lift off his chest. He felt alive again. You can make that choice too. Here's something I want you to remember. Anger is like a fire. At first, it feels powerful. It feels like fuel. But the longer you hold on to it, the more it burns you. And just like a fire, you have the power to put it out. You don't need to let it consume you. You can choose to pour water on that flame. Let's go back to the idea of drinking poison. Imagine holding a cup of poison in your hand. You know it's toxic. You know it's harmful. But you take a sip anyway, thinking, this will show them. Does that make sense? Of course not. But that's exactly what anger does. It's a poison you drink, hoping it will hurt someone else, when in reality it's only hurting you. So let me ask you, why are you drinking the poison? And I'm not saying it's easy to let go. It's not. It takes courage. It takes effort. But the alternative, holding on to that anger, is far harder in the long run. Because when you hold on to anger, you're not just holding on to the past, you're blocking the future. You're filling your heart with resentment when it could be filled with joy. And isn't that what we all want? To feel light, to feel free, to feel at peace. So here's what I want you to do. Take a moment to look inward. Find the places where you're holding on to anger. Maybe it's toward a person. Maybe it's toward a situation. Maybe it's even toward yourself. And then make the choice to let it go. Not because it's easy, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Release what weighs you down, and you'll discover how light your spirit truly is. Imagine waking up tomorrow without that burden. Imagine feeling free, feeling whole, feeling like yourself again. Because that's the gift of letting go. It's not about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, your life. So ask yourself, are you ready to put down the poison? Are you ready to set yourself free? Life isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. Let that sink in for a moment. Every thought you think, every emotion you carry, and every belief you hold sends out a signal like a ripple in a still pond. And that ripple, it calls back an echo, shaping your reality. Now, I want you to ask yourself something. How often do you feel stuck, trapped, like life is some external force throwing challenges your way? But what if I told you that life isn't some random event happening to you, it's dancing with you? Picture this, you're standing in front of a mirror, frowning, waiting for it to smile back at you. But it won't, will it? You have to smile first. Life is that mirror. It reflects what you give it. Here's a powerful truth when you shift your focus forward, when you turn away from fear, from doubt, from the stories of I can't or it's too hard, something extraordinary happens. The universe starts to align. Doors open where walls once stood. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you're on the wrong frequency, all you'll hear is static. But the moment you adjust the dial, clarity, music, that's what happens when you shift your energy. Let me share something with you. Every single one of us has a vibration. Call it energy, call it your mindset, whatever resonates with you. But here's the secret, it's contagious. Your vibration shapes your experience. If you're focused on fear, you'll see obstacles everywhere. But if you shift toward freedom, toward joy, the world starts to look different. Opportunities appear, connections deepen. And I know what you might be thinking, but how can I focus on joy when life feels heavy? Believe me, I've been there. We all have. But this isn't about ignoring life's challenges, it's about choosing not to live in them. Imagine a storm cloud passing overhead. You can stand there drenched and shivering, or you can step out from under it. The storm doesn't define the sky, and your challenges don't define your life. Let me take you on a journey. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you're holding a compass. It's pointing toward everything you want: freedom, peace, joy. But now imagine you're carrying a magnet in your pocket, pulling that compass off course. That magnet is your fear, your self-doubt, your resistance to change. And here's the beauty of it, you don't have to fix the compass, you just have to remove the magnet. So what's the magnet in your life? What are you holding on to that's pulling you away from the life you truly want? Let's go deeper. Think about your daily thoughts. Are you replaying old hurts? Worrying about things that haven't even happened? Because here's the thing, what you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you'll see more of it. But if you focus on abundance, on gratitude for what you have, however small it grows. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to radiate positivity? It's not because their lives are perfect. It's because they've chosen to respond differently. They've learned the art of tuning their energy to match what they want to attract. And you can do this too. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to shift. Here's a simple exercise. Take a deep breath. Now think of one thing you're grateful for, just one. It could be as small as the sunlight streaming through your window or the sound of a loved one's voice. Hold on to that feeling. Let it expand. That's your starting point. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good practice, it's a tuning fork for your energy. When you focus on what's good, you attract more of it. And let me remind you, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. Let's talk about vision for a moment. When you think about your future, what do you see? Is it filled with fear, doubt, uncertainty, or is it filled with possibility? Because here's the thing, your vision sets the stage for your reality. Imagine you're an artist standing before a blank canvas. You have every color imaginable at your fingertips. What are you going to paint? Will it be a masterpiece of joy and freedom, or will it be a sketch of the same struggles you've been carrying? And don't tell me, I don't know how to paint. You don't need to know every brush stroke. You just need to start. Here's something magical when you focus forward. When you step into a vision of what could be, the universe responds. It rearranges itself to meet you. Have you ever noticed that when you're really clear about what you want, things start to fall into place? That's not a coincidence. That's alignment. But alignment requires trust. It requires letting go of the need to control every detail and trusting that life is on your side. Think about a river. It doesn't fight to flow, it simply moves forward, finding its way around rocks and bends. You are that river. Your natural state is forward movement toward freedom, toward joy. But here's the catch: you can't flow if you're clinging to the banks. And I know letting go can feel scary, it can feel like stepping into the unknown. But let me tell you something, the unknown is where miracles happen. Take a moment and imagine your life 5 years from now. If nothing changed, would you be happy? If the answer is no, then now is the time to shift, because the truth is you are the creator of your life. Not your circumstances, not your past, you. So what's the vision you want to align with? And here's the most important part. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Start now. Start with what you have, where you are. Because life isn't waiting, it's responding. And the moment you shift your focus forward, you send out a signal to the universe, I'm ready. And let me tell you, the universe listens. It listens to your thoughts, your energy, your actions. It listens and it aligns. So what are you ready to say to it? What are you ready to ask for? Because here's the truth, you're not a passive participant in life. You're an active creator. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. A bird doesn't cling to a branch after it learns to fly. Have you ever thought about that? It's not because the branch isn't safe anymore, it's because the bird knows what it's capable of. It knows it has wings, and those wings were meant for more than just perching. Now, here's the question for you. How often do we cling to our own branches? Those places in life where we feel secure, even though deep down we know we were meant for more. We stay stuck because of one thing, fear. Fear of falling, fear of failing, fear of the unknown. But here's the truth, the fear of falling will always be smaller than the freedom of soaring. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a baby bird perched on the edge of its nest for the very first time. It feels the wind ruffling its feathers, its tiny heart pounding as it looks down. It doesn't know what will happen when it leaps. Will its wings work? Will it fall? And yet it jumps. Not because it knows the outcome, but because it trusts its design. It trusts that those wings weren't given to it by accident. Now let me ask you this, how many of us are standing on the edge just like that bird? We feel the call to leap, but we cling to the branch because we're scared. But let me tell you something, the branch isn't where you're meant to stay. The branch is just a resting place, not your destination. Think about it, a bird wasn't born to cling. It was born to fly, and so were you. Here's the thing, we all have wings. Wings of potential, wings of courage, wings of creativity. But those wings only work when we trust them. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you trusted yourself? Not your fears, not your doubts, you. Because here's the secret, the moment you trust yourself, the moment you leap, you discover something incredible. You discover that falling isn't the end, it's part of learning to fly. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if I leap and fail? What if my wings don't work? But here's a better question. What if they do? What if the leap you're afraid of is the one that sets you free? Let me share a little story. Picture a kite. When the wind picks up, it soars higher and higher, but only because it lets the wind lift it. It doesn't resist, it doesn't fight. It rises with the flow. That's what happens when you let go of the branch and trust your wings. Life has a way of carrying you, but only if you allow it. Think about your own life. What branches are you clinging to right now? Maybe it's a job you've outgrown, a relationship that no longer serves you, or a version of yourself that feels safe but small. Whatever it is, ask yourself, am I holding on because it's where I'm supposed to be, or because I'm afraid of what comes next? Because let me tell you something powerful, the branch isn't holding you up, it's holding you back. Here's a little exercise for you. Close your eyes and imagine your life as it is now. See the branch you're clinging to. Feel the security it gives you, but also notice the limitations. Now imagine letting go. Picture yourself spreading your wings, stepping into the unknown, and feeling the wind lift you higher than you ever thought possible. How does it feel? Scary? Of course. But also freeing. And that's the beauty of it. Freedom and fear often live side by side, but here's the trick, when you choose freedom, the fear begins to shrink. Let me remind you of something. Falling isn't failure, it's feedback. Every time you fall, you learn something new about yourself, about your wings, about the wind. And each time you get stronger. Think back to that baby bird. Its first flight isn't perfect. It wobbles, it dips, it might even crash. But does it give up? No. It climbs back to the branch, shakes off the dust, and tries again. Because it knows something deep in its soul. It was born to fly. And so were you. But here's the thing, you'll never know the strength of your wings if you never leap. You'll never know the freedom of soaring if you spend your life gripping the branch, too afraid to let go. So let me ask you again, what are you clinging to, and what would your life look like if you trusted your wings instead? Imagine waking up every day with a sense of lightness, knowing you're no longer bound by fear. Imagine feeling the wind beneath you carrying you toward possibilities you couldn't even see from the branch. Because here's the truth, life isn't happening on the branch. Life is happening in the sky. And the sky. It's limitless. Let me leave you with this thought: the bird doesn't wait for a guarantee before it leaps. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. It leaps because it knows the freedom of flight is worth the risk of falling. And you, my friend, have that same choice. Trust your wings, trust the wind. And when you're ready and you are ready, let go of the branch, fly. Every exit is an entrance to something greater. Think about that for a second. What feels like an ending, a door closing, a chapter wrapping up, a goodbye that shakes you to your core isn't the end. It's the beginning of something extraordinary, something you might not even see yet. Let me ask you this: how many times have you stood in the middle of an ending and thought, this is it? This is where it all falls apart, and yet, looking back now, you realize it wasn't the end at all. It was the moment something new began. Because endings, they aren't what we think they are. They're not failures, they're not losses, they're transitions, they're transformations, they're the universe saying this chapter is complete. Let's write the next one. Now imagine this: you're walking down a hallway and every door you pass has a memory behind it, a job you left, a relationship that ended, a dream you once held on to but outgrew. And as you walk, you see a door at the end of the hall. It's closed, and you hesitate because you don't know what's on the other side. But here's the thing: you can't get to the next part of your journey if you don't open that door. So often we fear the unknown. We cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves us, even when it's holding us back. But the truth is, the unknown is where life happens. It's where growth happens. It's where you discover who you're meant to be. Let me tell you a story. Picture a caterpillar. It spends its life crawling on the ground thinking, this is who I am. This is all there is, but one day everything changes. It builds a cocoon, a tight, dark, and uncomfortable space. To the caterpillar, probably feels like the end, but we know it's not, don't we? Inside that cocoon, a transformation is happening. And when it's ready, that caterpillar emerges as a butterfly. The cocoon wasn't the end, it was the doorway to something greater. Now, what's your cocoon? What's the thing in your life that feels like it's closing in on you, like it's over? Could it be that this isn't the end, but the start of your wings growing? Every exit you face, whether it's a breakup, a career change, or a dream you've had to let go of, is an opportunity. It's the universe clearing space for what's next. But here's the catch: you have to trust the process. You have to believe that there's more waiting for you, even when you can't see it yet. Let me hit you with this: the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to step through the door. And I get it, it's not easy. Endings can feel like loss. They can feel like the ground is shifting beneath your feet. But what if you reframed it? What if you saw every ending as a bridge instead of a wall? Here's a little exercise for you. Think about something in your life that's recently ended or is coming to an end. Close your eyes and imagine it as a door closing behind you. Now, instead of focusing on that door, turn around. Look at the path in front of you. See the light pouring through the doorway ahead. That's your future calling. And you might be thinking, but I'm not ready. I don't know what's next. That's okay. None of us ever feel completely ready. But the beauty of life is that you don't have to be ready to begin. You just have to take the first step. Let me share a truth with you. The endings in your life aren't there to punish you. They're there to prepare you. They're shaping you, strengthening you, and guiding you towards something bigger, something greater than you've imagined. Think about all the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. Do you think their lives were a straight line of success? No, they faced endings, 2 moments when they thought, this is it. It's over, but those moments weren't the end. They were the turning points. Every door that closed behind them opened the way to the life they were meant to live. And the same is true for you. So here's the challenge: can you let go of the fear? Can you stop clinging to the old chapter and trust that the next one is going to be even better? Picture this: you're standing at the edge of a cliff. Behind you is everything you've known safe, comfortable, familiar. In front of you is a vast open sky. You can't see where you'll land if you leap, but you feel a pull, an urge to jump. That's what an ending feels like. It's scary, it's uncertain, but it's also exhilarating, because when you leap, you don't fall, you fly. And maybe you're thinking, but what if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? Let me tell you something: failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every stumble, every setback, every so-called ending is a stepping stone. You're not failing, you're learning, you're growing, you're becoming. Now, take a moment to think about this. What if the thing you're afraid to let go of is the very thing holding you back? What if the comfort zone you're clinging to is actually a cage? You weren't meant to live in a cage. You were meant to soar. Every exit is an entrance. Every ending is a beginning. And every closed door is a chance to step into the life you've been longing to create. So the next time you face an ending, don't see it as a loss, see it as a gift that's clearing the way for something greater, something unimaginable, something that's uniquely yours. Because here's the truth: life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every twist, every turn, every closed door is a part of the divine design, guiding you toward your highest self. And as you stand at that doorway, take a deep breath. Trust in the process. Step forward with courage, with faith, and with the knowing that the best is yet to come. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for miracles. Just pause and let that settle into your heart for a moment. Because think about it: how can you welcome something new and miraculous into your life if you're already full of doubts, fears, grudges, and outdated versions of yourself? Life, in its purest form, is like a flowing river. It moves forward naturally, carrying you to new places, new experiences, and new opportunities. But when you hold on to what no longer serves you, it's like throwing anchors into that river. You're trying to stay in one place, stuck in a current that's designed to carry you forward. Let me ask you something: what are you clinging to right now? Maybe it's a past relationship that no longer brings joy but feels familiar. Maybe it's a fear that whispers, stay safe, don't take risks. Or maybe it's a story you've been telling yourself for years: I'm not smart enough, I'm too late, this is just how my life is. But what if I told you that letting go isn't about losing anything? It's about gaining everything. Think about a seed. To grow, it doesn't cling to the shell that protected it. It breaks free, allowing itself to become something entirely new. That's the kind of transformation that happens when you release what's holding you back. Let me give you a simple visual. Imagine your life as a room. Over the years, you've filled it with furniture. Some pieces are beautiful and meaningful, others are old, broken, and no longer useful. But you keep holding on to all of it, even though there's no space left to move. Now imagine clearing out the clutter. Imagine making space in that room so light can pour in, so new beautiful things can enter. When you let go, you're not emptying the room, you're preparing it for miracle. And here's a secret: those miracles have been waiting for you. They've been standing at the door, waiting for you to create space, waiting for you to open up. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is the biggest roadblock to letting go. It whispers, what if I lose something important? What if I regret this? What if I let go and nothing better comes along? But here's what you need to remember: fear is just a thought. It's not real. It's a story your mind tells to keep you safe, to keep you small. And while fear might feel like protection, it's really just a cage. So ask yourself what's more terrifying, letting go of what no longer serves you or staying stuck in a life that doesn't feel like your own. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who had been holding on to a job she hated. It drained her, but she stayed because it felt secure. One day, the job ended unexpectedly. At first, she was devastated. But within weeks, new opportunities appeared, ones she could never have imagined while she was stuck in her old routine. That's what happens when you let go. You make space for what's meant to find you. And it's not just about big life changes. Letting go happens in the small, everyday moments too. Maybe it's letting go of a grudge that's been weighing on your heart. Maybe it's releasing the need to be right in an argument. Maybe it's deciding to forgive yourself for a mistake you made years ago. Because here's the truth, when you release something, you're not just letting it go, you're setting yourself free. Picture this, you're holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you open your hand, the sand rests lightly on your palm. That's how life works. When you let go of control, when you stop gripping so tightly, life flows. And let me tell you, miracles don't happen in a clenched fist, they happen in open hands. So let me ask you again, what are you ready to release? Maybe it's the belief that you're not enough. Maybe it's a relationship that no longer aligns with who you are. Maybe it's the idea that you need to have everything figured out right now. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself setting it down. Feel the weight lift off your shoulders. That's the power of letting go. It doesn't take anything away from you, it restores you. Now here's the part no one talks about. Letting go is also an act of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in life, trust in the infinite possibilities that surround you. It's saying, I don't know what's coming next, but I know I'm ready for it. And that readiness, that's when the miracles show up. You see, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. But you have to meet it halfway. You have to create the space for life to deliver its gifts. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. You're afraid to jump because you don't know if there's a net to catch you. But what if I told you the net appears only after you leap? That's the magic of trust. That's the miracle of letting go. So tonight, as you reflect on this moment, ask yourself, what's one thing I can release today? Start small. Maybe it's a self-doubt you've been carrying. Maybe it's the need to control every detail of your future. Maybe it's simply the fear of letting go itself. Because when you release the old, you don't lose yourself, you find yourself. And isn't that what we're all here to do? To discover, to grow, to step into our highest selves. So let go. Trust the process. Make space for miracles and watch what unfolds. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.